What's up, everybody? It's your boy Reggie Casual from thecasual.co, and today we're talking Japanese streetwear. So yeah, Japanese street styles. There aren't some big mystery, and most people just want to get their hands on some bona fide Japanese brands. That's cool, and I'm down for that. We're all down for that. However, the true essence of Japanese style is a bit more complicated than just brands. You gotta go above and beyond that. The truth is, it's quite subtle, which means it ain't that hard to pull off. You just need a little bravery for the crazier stuff. So, to keep it simple, we're gonna focus on 5 types that can enhance your closet. That's next on the STIC. At number 5, we got urban fusion. Now, a lot, if not most, Japanese styles come from a Western inspiration or point of view, and then they are mashed and fused with their own sense of tradition and aesthetic. With urban fusion, you got the same items that you're already familiar with, you know, like the hoodies, trendy long tees, graphic tees, and the like, but often it's a bit more evolved and deliberate in Japan. Urban fusion extends beyond just hip-hop or grunge or anything like that, but also goes into time period pieces as well. We're talking like 80s and 90s styles, sprinkled with a little bit of what's current to keep things fresh. This comes in the form of all kinds of pieces, from starter jackets to track pants, but honestly, it's just a hodgepodge of different styles from an urban perspective. It could be skate, could be hip-hop, or any other subculture out there. Now, as far as brands go, Bape has always been the immediate image of the typical urban look in Japan, and rightfully so. They've been around for a long time, but brands like Mihara Yasuhiro and Monkey Time have adapted the urban look into something that fuses a bit more of traditional Japanese clothing. That's why we call it urban fusion, a mixture of Japanese traditional clothing with detailed design and experimental fabrics. Just take a look at how drape and layering has expanded in street fashion. Frankly, it's always been here in Japan, and it's peeking its way into urban fashion in a major way. You may be shunning it now, but the minute that somebody famous makes it familiar, you'll probably wonder why you didn't try before, and then you'll just get on the bandwagon. So don't do that and get on top of it, like right now. Number 4, classic Americana. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. Whatever. America should be ashamed at how Japanese took classic Americana, changed almost nothing, and made it viable. Say what you want about the style, whether you believe it's appropriation or not, you cannot deny there's an appreciation for the classic American look in Japan. What's crazy is that it's readily available in the West. It's just not well curated. I mean, there's a few brands that prop up the Americana look out West, but they haven't adapted it to a more street style look, whereas Japan made it cool to walk around wearing denim vests, work pants, flannels, and overalls with your hair slicked to the side, if you can do that. You can add this style right now simply by being American or having the American spirit if you're not from America. I mean, take your cues from classic styles that still fit in today's fashion landscape and make it deliberate, because a white t-shirt and a pair of jeans can go a long way in the right hands. While Americana still has its heart and soul in the American roots, many Japanese brands have made it their go-to base for style and design. Neighborhood is well documented, everybody knows about that, but brands like Hollywood Ranch Market, which is also a shop, and Blue Japan do a great service to the style. Accessory brands like Goros are entering godlike status here in Japan, eclipsing even Supreme as the most hyped vendor in Tokyo. Wacko Maria adds in that butterfly gangster collar look, and brands like Capital and Visvim have added the fusion that Japanese design is well known for. Number 3, punk and new Visual Kei. Now, Visual Kei is one of those dated styles and images of Japanese street fashion that still exists, but its most current version is a bit more accessible, approachable, whatever would have you. The hyper punk inspired style still maintains its monochromatic foundations, but gone are the overly fantasized makeup and hair dyeing. I mean, it's still around, but just in small doses. What we have now is a more layered, drapey style that hits between Julius and Rick Owens. It uses the same avant-garde foundations without the super eccentricity. However, on occasion, this style is brought to the max with heavy updated punk influences by way of designer brands like Comme des Garçons. As you'd expect, it's difficult to get into this style as it will most certainly garner the most stares out west. But if that's you, then do it. It's definitely a fun style to mix and play with, and I have used it on occasion myself. Just make sure that you own it. Don't walk around like you've made a mistake with this style. That'll get you laughed at. So, good luck. If you're going for the super punk foundations or even metal, I would say more towards like the metal area, brands like Black Means fit the bill. Studded leather jackets, crazy accessories, above the fold craftsmanship, and an added bit of fusion make Black Means a ridiculous and proper upgrade to a largely outdated look. We also have My Beautiful Landlit, which is actually pretty damn cool and not so far off course. It's very approachable. Legenda is a new brand that fuses punk and grunge. Casper John have very familiar silhouettes that don't go too far into the new K look. It's right, it threads the needle very well. And of course, the undisputed king of making Visual K a better form of itself is, of course, Undercover, as it takes on that punk vibe while maintaining a sense of familiarity that make it more accessible to those looking to branch out into different styles. Number 2. Military Mix. Now, Military Mix could be considered a variant of Urban Fusion, but the fact that it places more emphasis on military garments and fabrics gives it its own category. Of course, camo is involved, to be sure, but it goes deeper than that. You'll often see military mixed with other styles, hence the word mix. More specifically, the other styles on this list. So if you have military mix with Americana, that goes a little classic. Urban goes a little bit loud. Basically, military mix is such an important style in Japanese fashion that every genre has tapped into it. Every aspect of military can be used, from hats to boots to color or even fabrics. And when done correctly, it's probably the most well put together style in Japanese street fashion. Mainly because you're just adding to the other ones. Now, this is not to be taken lightly. It's serious business here. Stores like Nico and vintage spots like Chicago and Burbage keep regular stock of vintage military apparel. It's that huge. And of course, Bape staked its whole claim on the camo pattern. But brands like Softnet and FAT have also attached the military mix to their brands with a more natural look, and you regularly see Japanese bravely adding military style berets to outfits. The brand Ready Made uses military fabrics to pump out unique pieces, and Crimey often plays with 12 fabrics and military colors. Military mix is so common in Japan that the entirety of street fashion in the country would be completely different if it didn't exist. And the best thing about it, it isn't hard to get where you're at right now. You're sitting down in your room. It's very easy to get. It's readily available, and you don't need to come to Japan to get it. But you do need some inspiration, so take a look at the brands that I mentioned and see what you could do with military mix. And number 1, numero uno, ichiban, the Yohji. Yeah, of course, this style isn't just called the Yohji. I made that up, but it's the only way to get your attention. You know what this is already. Voluminous pieces, billowy silhouettes. It's basically what you want to wear but don't because it's either too expensive or just too out there. But this style permeates through nearly every style in Japan. Every single entry on this list has elements of this, and the nature of its silhouette scares people away if you just do this style. It seems costumey, too eccentric, and too often people shy away from its greatness because they feel that they can't pull it off. You gotta put that in quotes, which is just not true, but I digress. Known for its drapey, monochrome, traditional infused mode, the Yohji is known for its stark contrast to typical fashion, and in recent years has become a bit more approachable due to its deconstruction and introduction of more palatable silhouettes. That's a whole lot of stuff to say that it actually is wearable now, but it still maintains an aura of fashion bravery where only certain individuals dare to wear it. However, it should not be considered in the same category of new Visual K, as many might mistake it for. The Yohji style is devoid of parlor tricks and lifestyle. It's simply silhouette at its best, subtle and a statement at the same time. As stated, this style is what everyone wants to try, but don't because they're afraid of what people may think. To which I personally say, who gives a damn? To be fair though, once you get deep into fashion, this style becomes way more palatable as everything else becomes boring, especially if you live in Tokyo. It's so eccentric out here sometimes that you're just like, yeah, I'll try it. Seriously, you can't say you are a fan of Yohji if your first inclination is to be like, it's dope, but I can't pull it off. That's just weird. That said, hints of the style can be seen in almost every type of brand calling itself high streetwear, which, let's be honest, is the most ridiculous thing ever said by any individual ever. It's quite comical. Anyway, outside of Yohji's Y's, Sai, Ground Y, Por brands and collections by Miharu Yasuhiro, again, Jie-Das, Sugalism, Sakai, White Mountaineering, Edwina Hurl, all do a friggin' wonderful job with this style. Even Rick Owens has a little bit of Yohji in there. It can be expensive, but it'll also be one of the best pieces that you'll ever own if you decide to buy a piece or just a collection. Or you could just admire it and be missing out because you think you'd get blasted for wearing it. But that's on you. That's on you. I'll just continue to buy it if I want it. Buy it if you want it. Just do whatever you want. So there's a whole lot more styles. I didn't say every single one of them, but the most important thing about Japanese styles is that the only rule is to go 100% into the style that you're going for. And the only way to do that is going completely lifestyle instead of going with the trend. What you like is far more important than what is popular because it tells the world more about you. I always say that style is the canvas of yourself. And of course there are silhouettes that are uniquely Japanese, but the most important thing is refining your look and making it deliberate and impeccable. And as I mentioned, you don't see a lot of people in Japan rocking logo brands out here, and many brands refrain from even making logo pieces. What they rock is their lifestyle on their sleeves. Literally. There's an air of subtlety and knowledge of self that goes beyond representing a brand and more so representing a culture. So that's it, but there's always more to cover. There's a whole bunch more to cover. So tell us what you think about these styles in the comments and give a thumbs up if you liked this video. Stay updated by following us on social, but most importantly, keep it locked right here for more information on international street fashion and culture from Tokyo. Subscribe if you haven't already and keep it casual. Yoroshiku onegai shimasu. And we out. Going this way. See you guys in a minute.